Today I finally want to talk about the two new additions that I've got, and that being two Cuttlefish. So if you do follow me on social media, if you follow me on Instagram and YouTube, you will see that I've posted a few things of these guys online. I've managed to get a little bit of slow-mo footage, some feeding videos, even to the point where you can see the chromatophores in their skin changing and flicking colours and things like that. Now I wanted to leave them a couple of weeks just so they sort of got settled, to establish that they are going to feed, just to make sure they're fine basically. So now that they're settled, I want to start sort of showing them off a bit more, and just the future plans I have for them. So at the minute I've got the lights off, just because they are still quite shy. They do bury themselves in the sand, so I'm trying to keep the lights off as much as I can. I'll probably put the lights on for 3 or 4 hours a day, and that's pretty much it. That's just for the algae that I've got in there, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But I just want to quickly go over the setup that I've got them in. So I've got them in this small tank. It's not big. I think it holds probably about 20 litres, 15 litres, something like that. It's not a big tank at all. And I thought this would be ideal, just to sort of get them in there, get them established, get them feeding, and then as they start to slowly get a little bit more tame, grow a little bit bigger, I can slowly start upgrading them to bigger tanks. So in here I have got some sand. I wanted to put a sand bed in there because I do know that they like to bury in the sand. I have seen them in the wild as well when I've been abroad. They do hide themselves in the sand, and I wanted that there just so they felt a little bit more secure. You can see I've got plenty of live rock in there. Again, that's just going to give them places to hide. It's also going to sort of slow the flow of the return pump down a little bit, just because I don't want these guys getting blasted around the tank. So I sort of blocked a bit of that flow using the rocks, just so that they don't get washed around basically. And also with the amount of rock and sand I've got in there, all of the rock and sand that I put in is already from a previous tank, so it's been cycled for many years. It's got loads of beneficial bacteria in there, and I thought that's just going to help make the tank a little bit stable. Now I have got some dragon's breath algae in there. I've been wanting to get hold of this for quite a long time, but I couldn't really put it in my main tank because I've got tangs and pufferfish and things like that, and they would just absolutely demolish the algae that I put in there. So I finally managed to pick some up from a local fish store, and I've put that in there as well. One, gives the tank a little bit of movement. I think it makes it look quite nice, and hopefully that's going to help absorb some of those nutrients out of the water as well. And plus I have seen the cuttlefish hiding underneath these little bunches of algae that I've put in there, and it is quite nice when they go up against the algae because they do actually turn like a burgundy red colour, which is really cool to see. Now filtration wise on this, all I've got is a J-Bow canister filter. I've had this filter for a couple of years now. I did originally put a video out on this when I first bought it, and when I first got it I didn't have a clue how it worked, how to use it. Even after using a few videos, it still didn't make sense to me. But now that I've sort of got my head around it, I've used it on multiple different tanks, I'm very happy with the way that it works, and it does work quite well. Now the filtration for this tank, all I've got on there is the canister filter, and I've literally just filled it with ceramic media. That's it. I've not got any sponge filter in there or anything like that. It is literally just there for the beneficial bacteria. I've got no mechanical filtration technically on this at all, and I'm probably going to leave it that way. I'm going to be doing water changes once a week on this tank anyway. I'm probably going to do a 10% water change, so I'm only going to drop it down a couple of inches, and that should keep the water refreshing. These guys don't actually produce a lot of waste. When I've seen them go to the toilet in here, there's not a lot that comes out at all. So I'm pretty happy with the filtration and the bioload with this tank at the minute. So I'm going to be feeding them these river shrimp, or I think known as ghost shrimp, something like that. These can be quite expensive to buy, especially the amount that these guys are eating. One of them managed to come out, hang on. So this little chap's up and on the move. So you can see the chromatophores. If you look at their skin, they're tiny little pixelations that constantly flash and change. It's quite hard to see from this distance. When you zoom in, it's incredible. You can see a little tube under his head. That's his sort of breathing tube that they'll use, and they'll use that to sort of jet out little bits of water and stuff as well to move around. But yeah, you can see he's out and about. If I go close to the tank, I'll put my finger there. Sometimes they do change colour quite rapidly. They go like a darker colour, but they are getting tamer to me, more and more tame. I'm trying to hand feed them. That's the end goal. Try and get them to take some food out of my hand. But yeah, they're just such weird looking creatures, but they're so cool. But as I was saying, so yeah, these are the river / ghost shrimp, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to try and get a job lot of these and actually try and produce these, just because yeah, it's going to cost a fortune otherwise to feed these guys. So I will be doing a full setup of these. I do actually have a sponge filter that I've just had delivered, so once I've got the job lot of these, I will be setting that up, so I'll probably do that in a separate video. But yeah, these are what I keep them going so far. So you can just see where they are. There's one sort of on the bottom left hand corner of the screen, and then there's one sort of like the middle of the right hand side of the screen, the far end of the tank. This is probably most of the time where they both sit. I'm guessing the one on the left likes it just because he is sheltered from the current that's coming out, so he sort of hides under the rock. And the guy that's sort of down here, he sort of nestles himself in there, and then sometimes he tucks himself underneath this little ball of algae, which is quite cool. But I'm going to pop the lights on, so we'll see how they react. They're normally quite good, but you might see the guy on the far right sort of bury himself a bit deeper. So just as the camera was trying to adjust, the guy on the right, he did in fact bury himself quite deep. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get the camera set up in a way that you can actually see the feeding properly. Hopefully I don't have to move the camera too much. I might try and do it by hand, but these guys, they do move very quickly, especially with the shrimp jumping around and things like that. It does make it quite awkward to capture them when they're feeding. Now you can see this guy, he's starting to move around. He's sort of getting into prime position there, so when the lights come on I do generally feed them, so that's probably why this guy is out and about. But yeah, trying to focus on these guys is just, it's so difficult. I don't know if you saw, he had a little bit of purple on his belly there, but again he's going to go back. See how that change in colour happens quick? It's literally so quick, it's unreal. But yeah, they do know that it's going to be feeding time, so that's why they're sort of out and about. But I just want to have a little look at this, and yeah, it just looks so cool. It's such a nice colour, and I do want to try and get some hold of some more microalgae to actually put in here, just because I think it's going to make it look really nice. And this is just a bog standard setup of what I've done. It was literally something I chucked together in a few minutes, and yeah, I think it looks incredible just the way it is. This tank was originally being used for something else. You can see I've got this like plug attachment just there. You chuck it like a bath or a sink, and that was actually an overflow that I created a while ago. So unfortunately I can't fill this up all the way, but it's just temporary for now. Same with the canister filter. I probably will keep this canister filter with these guys, but I will obviously set it up properly with some proper mechanical filtration, i.e. some foams and things like that. But for now it serves a purpose, and it's working. So what I'm doing is I'm going to try and grab a shrimp, and we'll chuck it in there, and hopefully I can get some footage of them actually chasing it down and hunting it. So in goes the first shrimp. Now it's normally pretty quick, so what I've got to try and do is I need to try and focus on the shrimp, which is not the easiest thing to do. Now sometimes they do just jump straight onto the rock, which isn't ideal, but as these guys move around they do then spot them, and they get them eventually, which is the main thing. So we'll try again, but this one more near the front. So you can see, there he goes. I'm literally tapping, oh bosh, and there he is. It's literally that quick. And this is what they'll do. They'll grab hold of it, they'll go back to their little happy place, bury themselves in the sand, and yeah, that is it. It's that quick. So you can see why it's difficult to try and film these guys. Trying to keep the camera still, follow the shrimp, keep it in focus, and keep an eye on when these guys are going to come and attack. What I'll do is I'm going to set the camera up, and I'm going to try and focus it in one area, and hopefully majority of the shrimp will fall in that area, and we can get some stable footage that I may be able to sort of focus in on when I'm editing. And there we go. So those are my cuttlefish that I've got. So yes, you can probably see I'm in my bedroom. I've set them up in my bedroom just because they need to be kept cold, basically. These are the cold water species. You can't have them in any sort of temperature that's going to go above sort of 22 degrees Celsius. Anything warmer than that, then they're not going to make it. They're not going to thrive, so they need to be kept cool. So I like my room to be cold. Basically, my room is always freezing cold. Even in the winter, I always have a crack in the window just to let some air flow in. And it just means that the temperature in here is going to be ideal for these guys. But yeah, they're not going to be here long term. At some point I am going to buy a chiller, which basically sort of helps circulate the water a little bit more, and it actually cools the water as well, so I can actually keep these at a constant temperature and I can monitor it a bit better. But yeah, other than that, they're slowly getting more and more tame. Like I said, eventually I do want them to be able to feed out my hand. I'm hopefully going to get them to a decent size before then anyway, and then once they are bigger, hopefully then they will get a lot more tame, a lot more used to me. That's one of the reasons why I put them in my bedroom. I'm in and out of my room all day. It just means that they get to see me, they get to see me moving by the tank, moving around, doing stuff, the door opening and closing, and again, hopefully it just gets them accustomed to me basically, so they don't hide away as much. And hopefully with the light on as well, they're going to move around a little bit more once they get used to that. But again, it's all progress. And they're both feeding really well, as you've just seen, which is really good, and I'm really happy with. And I've just noticed there's a little snail in there as well. I didn't put that snail in there. I think that came on the algae, to be fair, but that's just something else that I can have a look at and monitor. But yeah, if you do have any questions on these, feel free to let me know. If you want to see the journey that I'm going to be going on, if you want to see the upgrades, obviously if you've watched my channel, you know I like to customize everything, so I will be doing a full custom setup for these guys at some point. Now these guys do get quite big. They get to about a foot in length, if they make it that long, and depending on whether they're male or female, they may even breed. Unfortunately, if they breed, they do end up dying shortly after, but they do produce quite a lot of eggs. So if by some miracle we manage to get these guys to breed further down the line and I manage to get some eggs, then that's going to be a really interesting series of trying to hatch out the eggs and raise them babies up. So yes, it's going to be a fun journey. I've got a lot planned for these guys, so make sure you subscribed if you want to see how it all turns out. And yeah, while you're there, you might as well check out a few of my other videos. There is something in the line that I may be getting an octopus. I'm not too sure yet. I have spoken to somebody who says that they can order them for me, but again, they're very hit and miss depending on the age as well, because they don't live a long time. But yeah, hopefully I will be getting an octopus soon. Now if I get one of those, then the tank has to be absolutely bulletproof. I can't have any gaps or anything like that where the octopus can get out. So yeah, if you do like these sorts of videos, then make sure you do subscribe, because if I do manage to get an octopus, that thing's just going to blow these guys out of the water. So yeah, other than that, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.